Very good morning, children. In yesterday's class, we completed the classification of plants, plantae. So, how the plant kingdom is divided means what are the characters, special characters taken into consideration for classifying the different species of plants means you learned the flower. So, if flower, if the plants are not producing flowers, they are kept in one group called as cryptogams, and if flowers are there in the plants, then they are kept in phanerogams. So these cryptogams, non-flowering plants, are again divided into two categories. One is bryophyta and second one is pteridophyta. Here the structure, the plant pods have been taken into consideration for classifying them. So bryophytes, they have false roots and leaves. So exactly they are not roots or leaves. So false. Okay. So what are the examples of bryophytes means moss plants. Is it clear? Then pteridophytes, if we see, we are observing here true roots and leaves we are going to observe. So these pteridophyte examples, fern plants, like that we have learned, which come under cryptogams, non-flowering plants. So coming to the phanerogams, which are said to be flowering plants. So flower is taken into consideration. Next, seed is taken into consideration. So where that seed is present. So usually seeds, where do we observe them? In the fruit only, no? But in some of the plants, the seed is present inside the fruit. And in some of the plants, the seed is present outside the fruit. So if the seeds are seen to the naked eye, if the seeds are present outside the fruit, then those plants are called as gymnosperms. So we are learning here as naked seeds. Seeds can be seen to the naked eye. Okay. So usually seeds we will not see because they are present inside the fruit. But in some plants, the seeds are present outside the fruit. Is it clear to you? So such plants are called as gymnosperms. Examples, cycas and pinus are the examples of gymnosperm trees. Then angiosperms, if we take in all angiosperms, the seed is present inside the fruit. And again these angiosperms are divided into two categories, two classes we can take. What are they means? Monocotyledonous plants and dicotyledonous plants. So monocotyledonous plants means what? The plants which have only one seed, one cotyledonous leaf seed. Then they are called as monocot plants. Dicot plants, two cotyledons will be there in the seed, so they are called as dicotyledonous plants. Is it clear to children? So examples for monocot plants are said to be what is that? Paddy, wheat, jowar, bajra, maize, all these. Only single cotyledon will be present. Whereas dicot plants, if we take mango, almonds, beans, all legumes like groundnut, red gram, Bengal gram, horse gram. So they contain two cotyledons. So seed is taken into consideration, then flower is taken into consideration, then parts of the plants are taken into consideration, and special tissues are taken into consideration for classifying the million species of plants which we come across in our surroundings. Is it clear to you? So now we will learn about the other law, that is last kingdom of Whittaker's classification, that is Animalia. So Animalia is going to make you to understand about all the animals, all the animal groups. So now let us learn what are the common characters which we observe in animals. Okay, so plants means what you said. So plants are stationary, they prepare their own food. Whereas animals, they cannot prepare their own food. Is it clear? Then all the animals which come under this are said to be multicellular. Multicellular. Is it clear to you? So all the animals are having many cells. So many cells means multicellular. Is it clear to you? And all animals which come under this kingdom, they are having nucleus. Nucleus is present in them. So if nucleus is there, what do we call them? They are said to be eukaryotic organisms. Eukaryotic organisms. All are multicellular and they have nucleus, so they are said to be eukaryotes. Apart from that, as they cannot prepare their own food, all the animals are heterotrophs. What do you mean by heterotrophs? These organisms cannot prepare their own food and they have to depend on other organisms for food. Maybe plants or other animals, they are going to get the food. So they are called as heterotrophs and that nutrition is called heterotrophic nutrition. Apart from that, all the animals, almost all the animals are moving from one place to another place. So they are mobile in nature. Mobile in nature. So what do you mean by that? Movement. What for? They are showing or they are exhibiting movements in search of food or in search of mate or in search of habitat. So they are moving from one place to another place. They have that capability. Is it clear to you? So these are the common characters which we observe in all the animals. Is it clear to you? So all the animals are said to be multicellular and they have nucleus, so they are called eukaryotic organisms and they cannot prepare their own food, so they are called heterotrophs and they are mobile in nature. So movements we are going to observe body movements, well defined or organized structure we are going to observe in the animals. Okay. Again, even if the animals are having some common features or some common characters, there are so much of diversity we are going to observe and differences we are going to observe, differentiation we can see. Now in detail let us learn about the different groups which are present in Animalia or animals. Again, they have taken into consideration some of the common characters and they are kept in groups. Is it clear to you? So like that, here the animals are divided into basically two categories. One is said to be invertebrata and other one is vertebrata. So invertebrates, they do not have any vertebral column or backbone. Is it clear to you? And vertebrates means they have vertebral column or backbone. Is it clear to you? So like that, here the some differentiation which we are observing, let us learn now in the class Animalia or kingdom Animalia. So first we learn about the Porifera. Porifera. First Porifera, then Coelenterata, Platyhelminthes, Nematihelminthes, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, finally Echinodermata. Okay, so first in invertebrates, Porifera, Coelenterata, Coelenterata, Platyhelminthes, then Nematoda, Annelida, Arthropoda, Echinodermata, Mollusca, then Echinodermata. Mollusca and Echinodermata. So these all groups of organisms will come under invertebrates. They do not have vertebral column, children. So Porifera, Coelenterata, Platyhelminthes, Nematihelminthes, Annelida, Arthropoda, then Mollusca, Echinodermata. So all these groups living organisms and characters in each class or each phylum we are going to discuss now in this class. Is it clear to you? So first let us learn about porifera. So before we go for that, once again please remember the names: porifera, coelenterata, platyhelminthes, nematihelminthes or nematoda, annelida, arthropoda, mollusca and echinodermata. The word porifera, if we take, so first phylum, porifera, porous body. Porifera, in these characters if we observe of this group, they have porous body. What do you mean by porous body? Holes. The entire body is seen with holes. So some holes are present in the body of these organisms. So the name porifera. Is it clear to you? And all these are multicellular organisms. Nucleus is present in them. But this group of organisms are non-motile. Non-motile. So what you can understand? They cannot move. They stick on to the substratum. Okay? With the help of some structures, they stick on to the substratum, that rocks or crevices of rocks in water. So they stick there like that, and they are going to stay, they are going to survive in that conditions only. Water conditions. Is it clear to you? So these are non-motile in nature, and they get support from the rocks or other places where they are living. Then apart from that, here what is that special character we are observing? Means that water driven system we can see. So as they are stationary and they live in water, the water currents are bringing the needy materials inside the body, and through that pores that specially designed a canal system specially designed water canal system is present in the body, which helps in driving the food or water inside the body of these organisms. Is it clear to you? Then coming to the next point, the animals are covered with a skeleton. So usually skeleton where do we have? Inside our body. Even if you observe fish or bird or snake or any other animals, if you are observing, skeleton, bony framework is present inside the body. Is it not, children? So here outside hard covering like structure we are going to observe, which acts as skeleton. Is it clear to you? Because that skeleton is going to give protection to the organisms which are living. So the animal is covered with a hard covering which is seen outside. Okay, as that is present outside, it is called as exoskeleton. We observe exoskeleton. Then here the body design, if we see, so are we going to observe any specialization or differentiation? Means no. So minimal differentiation, very minimum differentiation we are going to observe. So differentiation leads to the development of organs. So here well developed organs or organ systems we are not observing. That too in Animalia group, it is said to be the first group or first phylum in that Animalia kingdom. So very primitive or minimum differentiation we are going to observe in tissues, so that we are not observing much development in the organs. We are observing here. So examples of these poriferans are sponges, are examples. Is it clear to you? And their marine habitat, they live in a marine water. Is it clear to you? They live in marine water. Is it clear to children? And here cycon also is an example. Sponges, cycon, then Euplectella, Spongilla are some of the examples of poriferans. Is it clear to you? So Porifera means porous body we observe. They are non-motile. They stick on to the substratum, and but we observe here water canal system. Inside that porous body cavity is having a water canal system. So whenever they want any materials, especially food or organic material or other things, if they want, so that through that water, so water canal system only the materials are going to enter into the body. Is it clear to you? Then they are non-motile in nature and minimal differentiation in tissues we are observing. Minimal. So that's why simple structure is seen in this group of animals, Porifera. Is it clear to you? So examples are sponges, cycon and sponginella. Is it clear to you? So all these and they are said to be marine habitat. They live only in marine water. Marine water. Is it clear? So that is about Porifera. Now we will move to the next phylum in Animalia, that is Coelenterata or Cnidaria. Coelenterata or Cnidarians. C silent there. Coelenterata or Cnidarians is the second phylum in Animalia. So what characters we are going to observe in this? So is there any evolution, or is there any, what is that development in organization when compared with Porifera? Means it is yes only. Is it clear to you? So what are the characters we are going to observe? So even this coelenterates are also aquatic in nature. They live in water. Okay, aquatic. They live in water. In water. Apart from that, they are said to be multicellular. Multicellular. They are made up of many cells. Then here we are going to observe little bit some differentiation, and the organisms are having two layers of cells. Two layers of cells we can see. Okay, in the body, and little bit tissue organization also we are going to observe. I hope you understood. Is it clear to you? So that's why two layers of cells we are going to observe in this group of animals. So two layers of cells we are going to observe in this group of animals. So what do we call that? Means that's why they are called as diploblastic animals. So two layers of cells like this we observe. Okay, so two layers they are having. So they are called as a diploblastic animals. And apart from that, we observe here a body cavity like we are going to observe. But what is that body cavity here, which we call as a coelom we can take. But this cavity is not a true cavity. True coelom it is not there, children. Then here what is the uniqueness of this coelenterates? Means here it is mentioned they live in colonies and like corals. Okay, so they are going to tiny as 3 to 56 millimeters, but their colonies were find several types of them, which are a huge island, that is 1800 square kilometers they are going to occupy. That much big island they look like. And examples of these cnidarians or coelenterates are said to be Hydra, Lobelia, etc. Okay, Hydra and Lobelia are the examples of even jellyfish. Actually, jellyfish it lives in colonies, groups, whereas Hydra and Lobelia they live alone. Is it clear to mean solitary? So what are the characteristics of coelentrates? Means all the coelentrates are aquatic in nature. They live in water, multicellular, but some differentiation we are going to observe in the organization of these organisms compared with poriferans. So we are going to see here the body is having two layers of cells. So they are called as diploblastic animals. Diploblastic animals. Is it clear to children? And tentacles also we can see. So you learned about hydra, no? So hydra, budding in hydra you learned or not, children? So these are tentacles and body cavity we are observing. Is it clear to you? And the examples for this coelentrates are hydra, obelia, jellyfish, etc. Is it clear to you? So that is about coelentrates or cnidarians. Now we will discuss about platyhelminthes. Platyhelminthes. So in this group, the organisms will show more and more complexity in the structure when compared with the other two classes. Is it clear to you what you learned? So these platyhelminthes animals are having here is designed the when compared with other groups, they are said to be we are going to observe in this group organisms, that is triploblastic organisms. So diploblastic you learn, that is said to be two layers of cells we are observing in cnidarians. Okay, means some differentiation, some development we are observing in the structure or organization of a body in the animals. Is it clear? So poriferans minimal. Then in cnidarians we observe two layered cells and body cavity. Whereas in platyhelminthes we are observing triploblastic, three layers of cells. Three layers of cells we can observe in platyhelminthes group, and they are also multicellular organisms made up of many cells. And another important point, if we see bilateral symmetry, we are going to observe in this group bilateral symmetry. What do you mean by bilateral symmetry? If we cut the organism longitudinally, we are on both sides we are observing the same parts. Like suppose if we cut the animal our body like this, one eye this side, one eye this side, one hand this side, one hand this side. So bilateral symmetry, that is called bilateral symmetry. Is it clear to you? So here also we are going to observe in this group of animals bilateral symmetry. Coming to the next one, body segmentation we can observe. Body segmentation we can see, and three layers, and differentiation in tissues. Differentiation in tissues also we can see. So differentiation in tissues also we are going to observe. Then next is said to be here body cavity we are going to observe in these animals, coelom. But that false coelom we are going to observe here. It is not true coelom, and body is very much flat. That's why the name platyhelminthes, flat, just like ribbon it will be. Okay, so that's why the name platyhelminthes. So what are the examples of this group of organisms? Platyhelminthes means like planarians, liver flukes, all these are said to be examples of platyhelminthes. Is it clear to children? So now we are what are the characters we are observing? So they are multicellular organisms with triploblastic, 3 layers of cells we are going to observe, and bilateral symmetry we are going to observe, and body cavity. So here bilateral symmetry we are observing means right and left side same parts we are observing from top to bottom, like so that one we call it as bilateral symmetry. And with minimum differentiation of tissues we are observing here also, and all the tissues are present in that cavity like structure, but that cavity whichever is formed because of 3 layers which we call as triploblastic, 3 layers, but that cavity, body cavity, is not a real one. So no true body cavity we are observing in these animals. No true body cavity we are observing. Body cavity is also called as a coelom. So no true body cavity we are observing, but body cavity like differentiation which results in the formation of organs, like that we can observe here. Then the body is flattened, flat body we observe from top to bottom. The flat body we are observing, which we call it as a dorsoventrally. Dorsoventrally means what? From the anterior region to posterior region, flat structure we are going to observe. Flat body, just like ribbon. Ribbon you have seen, no? So that ribbon is very much flat. So just like that, flat body, that is what is the dorsoventrally? Dorsoventrally we are observing flat body. Flat body we are observing from top to bottom. So once again let us recall the points of Platyhelminthes. The organisms are multicellular, and the body, some organization we are observing which are triploblastic animals, 3 layers of cells we are going to see, and bilateral symmetry. Bilateral symmetry means what? Right and left same parts we are observing when we cut that animal, and even some differentiation we are observing in the formation of tissues, and the tissues helps in formation of some organs, but where those organs are present means in the body cavity like structure, but that is not true one. Okay, so no true body cavity is present. Pseudocoelom is present in the organism. This point you have to remember. Then dorsoventrally they have flat body. And this examples of this Platyhelminthes are the organisms, they live single or sometimes in group. Okay, and some live as parasites or some live in water, like that. Is it clear to children? So one parasite which belong to Platyhelminthes, that is tapeworms, Taenia solium, that is called tapeworm. It is living as a parasite in our body, in the intestine. Is it clear to you? Then liver flukes are also parasites in human body, which are responsible for diseases. Okay, and others are living in water. So that's about the Platyhelminthes. So what are the examples in the tapeworm, liver flukes, etc. Okay, that belong to planaria in this group only. Is it clear to you? So like that here, this some differentiation we are observing of the organisms. That points are said to be bilateral symmetry. Then dorsoventrally flat body we are observing, and no body cavity, but the organs, some organ development we are observing which are present in the cavity like structure, which we call it as the pseudocoelom. No true body cavity. Okay, if true body cavity, so where the organs are present in our body, inside the cavity only, no, we have true coelom, whereas this animals pseudocoelom, no true body cavity. Okay, so body cavity is coelom antam, but no true body cavity is seen, so that one we call it as pseudocoelom. So remaining classes of this Animalia, Nematoda, Annelida, that we will discuss tomorrow. Is it clear?